Mürselin. Evet, günün yorgunluğu hepimizin üzerinde herhalde ama günün en son oturumuna geldik. Fakat en heyecanlı ve en önemli oturumu fıkhi meseleler ve tartışmalar Osmanlı döneminde. Üç tane ilginç tebliğ dinleyeceğiz. İlk önce Samy Ayoub'le başlayalım. Doktor Samy Ayoub, Texas Austin Üniversitesi'nden.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنا آسف للتحدث بالإنجليزية لكن كل بحثي الأكاديمي باللغة الإنجليزية أو بالعربية. بالعربية ليس يعني كل يعني الأفكار يعني سوف يكون صعب الآن يعني ممكن قبل لأن يعني أول جزء مهم بالإنجليزي. Okay. بسم الله. So on the night of July 15th, 2016, rogue factions within the Turkish military, calling themselves Peace Council at Home, attempted an overthrow of several state institutions, including the government of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The coup plotters bombed parliament, police headquarters, and key buildings in their bid for power. And during the coup, over 300 people were killed, and more than 200 were injured. By the early morning hours, the coup had been put down by an informal coalition of civilian, police, and military leaders. In the aftermath of this failed coup, Reuters reported that Captain Mehmet Karabekir's body, who was one of the coup plotters, was not washed before burial. Nobody recited prayers from the Quran before he was laid to rest in a hastily dug hole near an Al-Mad shelter. Turkey's religious institution said it will not provide Islamic funeral services for the dead coup soldiers. These initial reactions from the Diyanet triggered so many questions whether the Turkish state position is consistent with Islamic ritual norms. Many raised the question whether these dead coup soldiers are considered to be apostates due to the Diyanet's refusal to perform ritual prayers over their bodies. This current moment in Turkish politics with regard to the treatment of dead rebel soldiers provides a perfect window into my talk today about how Ottoman Hanafi jurists in the 17th century treated armed rebellion in the Ottoman context. The Hanafi school, one of the four Sunni schools of law in Islam, was the official legal school of the Ottoman Empire. Hanafis consistently rejected offering funeral prayers over the dead bodies of armed rebels. It does not mean that these rebels are apostates, but it is an indication that these rebels died in an illegitimate fight. It was historically argued that denying rebels these ritual prayers was some sort of punishment and a deterrent to others, especially if these rebels murdered innocent people. Turkish state religious authority is a staunch Hanafi in their liturgical Islam. The denial of funeral prayers by these leaders cannot be understood without this Ottoman practice. Today I will address a legal treatise that has been written by the prominent Hanafi jurist Nuh ibn Mustafa al-Kunawi al-Hanafi, died in 1659. And the title of al-Kunawi's treatise is As-Sayf al-Mujazzam liqitali man hataka hurmat al-Haram al-Muharram. The English title would be the partially unsheathed sword to fight those who violate the sanctity of the sacred mosque. Al-Kunawi was born in Amasya in Anatolia, and he came to be known as one of the key Hanafi jurists of his time. And he was a member of the Khalawati Sufi order. He served as an Ottoman mufti for the city of Konya in central Anatolia, and then he immigrated to Egypt and resided there until his death. Al-Kunawi wrote a legal treatise after hearing the news that the Ottoman Egyptian soldiers were preparing to march to Mecca in order to put down a rebellion. In this treatise, he addressed two principal questions. First, how should the legal order respond to violations of Ottoman political sovereignty? Second, what are the rules that govern fighting against armed rebellion in the sacred mosque of Mecca? I argue that the legal discourse on rebellion in this treatise bears characteristics particular to late Hanafism in their deployment of later legal authorities in the school and their concern with commitment that shaped Hanafi response to defiance to Ottoman political order. Furthermore, I contend that Al-Kunawi's prime concern was to maintain the legitimacy of the Ottoman political order by arguing that this armed rebellion went beyond any valid political grievances, which would have been admitted as a plausible cause for dissent. And thus, even in the most sacred places for Muslims, that is Al-Haram or the sacred mosque in Mecca, immediate military response was necessary. By doing so, Ottoman Hanafi jurists, including Al-Kunawi, denied this group the treatment of rebels, which would entail certain benevolence with regard to the inviolability of life and jail punishments. Rather, Al-Kunawi designed or designated the term highway robbers and brigands, which guaranteed different treatment from that treatment that is given to political dissenters, and justified a swift military intervention. The context of Al-Kunawi's treatise is the year 1632, when rebel Turkish soldiers that came from Yemen were able to take control of Mecca. Some reports suggested that these soldiers rebelled against their local Ottoman governor in Yemen, Qansuwa Pasha. Another report indicates that Qansuwa Pasha himself was the one who expelled these groups from Yemen. On the 25th of Sha'ban, 1041 or 17th of March 1632, a battle between this rebel group and the Sharifs of Mecca, the local Ottoman officials, occurred near Mecca. The Sharifs were defeated and around 200 of their soldiers were killed. The rebel group entered Mecca and looted and murdered visitors and threw people out of their homes and took their money. The rebels were able to maintain control over Mecca for 101 days. This rebellion is known in the historical records as Waqa'at al-Jalaliyah, or the Jalaliyah incident. And it isn't so in the Arabic chronicle history. They are not aware of the specific Ottoman usage of the word Jalali, the Jalali revolts. So المؤرخين العرب لا يعرفون كلمة جلالية تعني التمرد اللي حصل في الدولة العثمانية في القرن السادس عشر. في العرب لا يعرفون معنى هذه الكلمة. كلمة جلالي تعني rebel. So one of the Sharifs of Mecca after the rebellion was able to flee to the valley of Murr al-Zahran, north of Mecca, and to send a letter to Khalil Pasha, the governor of Egypt. He was able to rule there for 3 years from 1630 to 1633, seeking his immediate military intervention. The governor responded by sending 3,000 soldiers on foot and 500 soldiers by sea to put down this rebellion. Al-Kunawi informs us that the Ottoman Egyptian governor sought a legal opinion or fatwa from local scholars about how to treat this rebellion and what type of rulings that would apply in fending off their threat. Al-Kunawi explains that he wrote his treatise to affirm the legality of fighting the rebels inside the sacred mosque. Al-Kunawi brands these groups as people of rebellion and transgression, Ahlul Baghi wal Udwan. And he reiterated that the classical legal view, affirming the legitimacy of the political order as long as the sultan or the ruler is a Muslim and acting to preserve the interests of the Muslim community. The only possible way to oppose political ruler is when the latter, the ruler, orders the Muslim community to act upon a prohibited act in the religion. The legal challenges for Al-Kunawi in his treatment of such an event revolves around 4 main issues. First, the legality of fighting in the sacred mosque in Mecca, which is considered the holiest place in Islam. Second, the appropriate legal characterization of these armed rebel groups and the consequences for such characterization. Third, the rules of engagement that the Ottoman Egyptian soldiers should follow when fighting these rebels. Fourth, the contours of the political legitimacy of the Sultan and the context of justified or unjustified rebellion. Al-Kunawi treatise is important because it provides a specific historical and socio-legal context for rebellion. This treatise was not written to engage in an abstract debates about the limits of political violence. Instead, it was written to qualify a major event that is taking over Mecca by an armed rebel group. And it was requested by the local Ottoman political authorities to guide the soldiers in their fight against this rebellion. So Al-Kunawi's treatise provides a set of arguments over 6 chapters to argue for the permissibility of fighting armed rebels during the sacred months and inside the sacred mosque in Mecca. Al-Kunawi and late Hanafis in general attempted to reread the Quranic directives that prohibit fighting in the sacred mosque and during the sacred months to give the Ottoman authorities license to fight these rebels in the sacred mosque. Excuse me. Moreover, Al-Kunawi deploys a claim of consensus to argue that late Hanafi jurists have unanimously agreed upon the permissibility to enter Mecca for fighting. Al-Kunawi ends his goal is the following, is to reverse early Hanafi reservations about initiating fighting inside the sacred mosque. فالأحناف المتقدمون قالوا أنه لا يجوز القتال في الحرم إلا إذا بدأ به البغاة، لكن الكنوي قال أن هذا الرأي لم يعد مقبولا في الدولة العثمانية. The first argument that offered by Al-Kunawi is that these rebels violated the sanctity of the sacred mosque and murdered members of the family of the Prophet, and he argues that these rebels committed acts that will never be committed by someone who claims to be a religious person. Second, he says that the sacred mosque is the most sacred place in Islam, and he declares that if non-Muslim combatants or Muslim armed rebels took control of Mecca, it is obligatory by unanimous agreement of the jurists to fight them back inside the sacred mosque. So basically, الرأي الجديد عند متأخر الأحناف أنه يجوز القتال في الحرم وفي الأشهر الحرم حتى وإن قال أبو حنيفة رأي أبو حنيفة مختلف ورأي القدوري مختلف فيما يتعلق بالبدء بالقتال داخل الحرم، لكن الكنوي يقول أن هذا الأمر لم يعد مقبولا في هذه الفترة الزمنية وفي هذه الحادثة بالتحديد. So for Al-Kunawi يقول it is obligatory to obey the Sultan and to fight those who rebel against him. Al-Kunawi brands these rebel groups as people of rebellion and transgression, as I mentioned earlier. And he reiterates that the classical legal view of affirming the political order of the Sultan, as long as the Sultan is Muslim and is preserving the interests of the Muslim community. The only possible way for a Kunawi to oppose the political ruler is when he orders the Muslim community to do something that is unanimously prohibited in the religion. The second argument by Al-Kunawi is that for him that the proper response for rebellion is that the local authorities should first contact this rebel group and ask them to surrender. And in case these rebel group have any type of political grievances, the Sultan should respond to it and be responsive to the demands. But what happened is that these rebel groups did not have any type of a particular political demand. And this for Al-Kunawi was a sufficient reason to brand them not as Bugha, but as قطاع طرق. Okay? And قطاع طرق قطاع طرق جريمة وليست جريمة سياسية. يعني هذه جريمة حدود. فأصبح الآن حدا عليهم أنهم يحاربوا وعليهم والعقوبة المعروفة في الفقه وليس لأنهم خرجوا على السلطان فقط. So for Al-Kunawi ends his treatise with his legal assessment that this rebel group took over Mecca, and he underscores that there's no doubt that this rebel group lacked any type of plausible interpretation in their actions. Basically saying that البغاة الذين خرجوا على السلطان وأخذوا مكة ليس لهم أي داعي سياسي، ليس لهم مظالم سياسية، لكنهم خرجوا بالسلاح وقتلوا الناس وبالتالي هم قطاع طرق وليسوا بغاة وبالتالي فيجب قتالهم وإن كان في الحرم وإن كان هم لم يبدأوا بالقتال. تمام؟ وهذا رأي خاص بالمتأخرين مختلف عن رأي أبو حنيفة الذي يعني هو موجود في عند القدوري كذلك أيضا. في الخاتمة early Hanafi position, the early position in the school, رأي المتقدمين appears that to prohibit fighting rebels in the sacred mosque as long as the rebels do not initiate, okay, لم يبدأوا fighting. And this position is attributed to Abu Hanifa, who argued that it is prohibited to fight rebels in the sacred mosque despite the rebellion. However, he stressed that rebels should not be given food, water, or residence so that they are forced to leave the sacred mosque. And this early position stipulates the impermissibility of initiating fighting in the sacred mosque based on the verses in the Quran that Abu Hanifa and his followers in the early opinion of the school considered to be operative, not abrogated. معظم الآراء التي جاءت في متأخر الأحناف قالوا أن كل ما جاءت به الآيات في عند متقدم الأحناف كلها منسوخة. تمام؟ وهذا بالطبع غير صحيح. أيضا قال متأخر الأحناف أن هناك إجماع عند الأحناف فيما يتعلق بقضية قتال البغاة أو قتال قطاع الطرق داخل الحرم، وهذا الإجماع يعني دعوى الإجماع هذه غير صحيحة أيضا. لكن على أي حال. So the Ottoman Hanafi jurists maintained a legal distinction between bandits, bugha, and rebels, and detailed a different set of repercussions for each category. They argued that rebels rely on interpretation, ta'wil, and therefore rebels are fought only for limited purposes of self-defense and repelling their harm, while bandits, that is قطاع الطرق, are fought in order to punish them for their crimes. Al-Kunawi's treatment of rebellion in Mecca against local Ottoman authorities centers on the legal consequences for rebellion inside the sacred mosque. He affirms the right of the Ottoman political authority to fight these armed rebels in Mecca. He gives absolute license and discretion to the local Ottoman governors to fight these rebels and bring them to justice in his understanding. So, the authority and contribution of Al-Kunawi and late Hanafis in general to the body of Ottoman legal scholarship is confirmed through their revisions of the early Hanafi scholarship, opinions and doctrines, including Abu Hanifa's opinions himself, the eponym of the school. The late Hanafi position should not be understood as a mere indication of the process of legal change in the school. It also reveals a particular late Hanafi concern about the legitimacy of the Ottoman political order and its longevity. The foundational framework for this legal treatise is the default legitimacy of the Ottoman Sultan, and I myself observe that the Ottoman political order is affirmed, defended, and maintained by Hanafi jurists who are not working for the Ottoman state. And most of them did not reside in the Ottoman in Istanbul or in the Ottoman capital. Most of these treatises has been written from Egypt, and most of them were on the margins, on the peripheries of the Ottoman Empire. So Al-Kunawi's treatise discloses that Hanafis not only accepted the normativity of the Ottoman political order, but also maintained and expanded its authoritativeness beyond the imperial capital. Thanks so much.
Kısa bir özetleme yapmak gerekir mi yoksa kendisine mi yaptıralım? Şimdi bir ممكن مختصر؟ اوكي تفضل. بالعربية. Ben o zaman Türkçe bir kısa özetleme yapayım, daha sonra kendisine. Öncelikle 18. yüzyılda 17. yüzyılda Yemen'de isyan eden bir grup Türk askerinin Yemen valisinin belki de anlaşmazlıktan kaçıp Mekke'yi işgali ile ilgili bir risale. Bir vaka üzerine bir tebliğ bu. Tabii 15 Temmuz askeri darbesine bir gönderme yaparak başladı öncelikle. Orada haberlerde işte isyancı askerlerin namazı kılınmaz tarzı bir fetva verildiği ve buna göre uygulama yapıldığına atıfta bulundu. Aslında Osmanlı dönemine geçerek işte bu Hanefi uygulaması bugün de devam ediyor mu diye bir soru sordu. 17. yüzyıldaki 1652 yılındaki bu isyanda bir grup asker işte Yemen'den Mekke'ye geliyor ve 101 gün süreyle Mekke'yi kendi kontrolünde bulunduruyor. Bunun üzerine oradaki şerif ve diğer Osmanlı yetkilileri Mısır valisinden yardım istiyorlar. Mısır valisi de bir ordu göndermek istiyor. Fakat bununla ilgili olarak yani Mekke'de harem bölgesinde savaşla ilgili olarak fetva istiyor. Değişik alimler fetva risaleleri veya fetvalar kaleme alıyorlar. Bunlardan birisi Konevi isimli bir Hanefi fakihi, aslen Konya'da görev yapan, daha sonra Mısır'a giden bir fakih. Onun yazdığı risale fetva üzerinden konuyu inceliyor ve orada kısaca bu isyancılara karşı ordunun Mekke'de savaş yapmasının cevazına dair bir görüş beyan ediyor. Burada tabi Hanefi mezhebinin erken dönem görüşünden farklı olarak isyancılar savaşa başlamamış olsa bile onlara karşı savaş yapma ve öldürmenin cevazını savunuyor burada. Hanefi mezhebindeki erken dönem görüş, isyancılar silah kullanmadıkça, savaşa başlamadıkça onların öldürülemeyeceği yönünde. Birincisi bunun cevazını savunuyor. İkincisi de bunlar isyancı değil, yol kesici, haydut hükmündedir diyor. Böyle bir ayrım yapıyor. Çünkü isyancı olsalar bir davalar olur, bir tezleri olur. Onların herhangi bir şeyleri yok, dile getirdikleri talepleri yok. Tam tersine doğrudan haydut gibi davranıyorlar. Dolayısıyla uygulanması gereken ceza da onlara had cezasıdır diyor. Sonuç olarak da Osmanlı Devleti'nde resmi bir görevi olmayan, hatta merkezde bile bulunmayan Hanefi fakihlerin, bunlardan biri de Konevi, Osmanlı Devleti'nin otoritesini meşru olarak kabul ettiğini ve buna dayalı olarak da isyancılara karşı silah kullanılmasını savunduğunu söylüyor. Bu da merkezden uzak ve resmi görevi olmayan fakihlerin dahi Osmanlı'nın meşru otorite olarak kabul ettiklerini gösterdiğini söylüyor. Kısaca böyle.
يعني بشكل سريع جدا فيما يتعلق بمسألة البغي ومسألة قطع الطرق في الفقه الحنفي. يعني هذه الرسالة هي رسالة في حادثة معينة فيما يتعلق بقضية استباحة مكة من خلال بعض الميليشيا وبعض قطاع الطرق جاءوا من اليمن. ويعني أنا أقول بشكل بسيط أن الكنوي يمثل تيار متأخر الأحناف فيما يتعلق بتغير المذهب في الدولة العثمانية. لكن أنا أقول أن المسألة ليست فقط قضية التغير. يعني المذهب الحنفي تغير كثيرا تاريخيا، لكن أنا أقول التغير مرتبط بالضرورة بقضية النظر السياسي، تمام؟ بأن السلطان شرعي وأن السلطان قادر على ممارسة مهامه، وبالتالي قضية البغي وقضية قطع طرق تعتمد على هذه المسألة أيضا، تمام؟ وأنا أقول يعني أخيرا أن مسألة الأحناف خارج يعني في مصر كل من كتب في هذه المسألة كلهم كانوا مصريين، سواء كانوا البهوت الحنبلي أو الكونوي الحنفي أو الشمراني الحنفي أيضا كتب في هذه المسألة، ولم يكونوا جزء من الدولة العثمانية، لم يكونوا يعملون كجزء من في المحاكم مثلا في المحاكم العثمانية، فهم كانوا أحناف ولكن كانوا فقط في يعني في الفقه الحنفي المدرسي، ولم يكونوا جزء من الدولة، لكنهم رأوا الدولة شرعية، وبالتالي الخروج عليها كان مشكلة. فهم أعطوا أعطوا للحاكم العثماني في مصر الشرعية الكاملة للتدخل في مكة، وإن كان في الأشهر الحرم وإن كان في الحرم، لقتال هذا البغاة. شكرا.